Yeah.
All right. Have fun on your call.
Sure, there's gonna be a new.
Priorities,
That's right. You gotta do the job, make that money.
Some new AI launch somewhere.
What's that?
Some new AI launch somewhere.
I'm sure that's exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
A new AI launch. Yeah.
Seems like he's been more open to generative AI than he was initially when we had the initial conversations.
You mean he's not just making fun of it all the time and saying it's stupid and all that? Yeah.
About Leonard?
Yeah.
There was a. I think I posted on LinkedIn somewhere. There was a great kind of a AI landscape by a Gartner analyst, which I find funny. So which shows AI at the center and all the different variation. And my comment was, Gen AI is, as we say in French, l'idiot du village. So he's the village idiot. So I think it's a good analogy.
The village idiot. I like that. That's good. It could be.
That could be a thing.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah.
Well, if you look at what's happening in France these days on the political side,
I have no idea.
Yeah, well, it's complicated. So.
I heard Macron was going to do a snap election. That's all I heard in the news.
Yeah, I mean, he called for the people to go vote back for the assembly because there's a European election, and the characteristics of elections in France is that when there's an election, for Europe, or an election for the assembly, an election for the president, French people don't care. They always kind of vote for the president or against. So they don't care about the subject. It could be an election about salami. They would still say, we are for or against Macron. So the European election became kind of a pulse of how Macron is doing, and he lost badly.
I see.
So I wonder what was happening over here if we had snap elections as opposed to these like multi-year, multi-billion dollars of elections.
Well, the thing is that actually the term snap election is wrong, because what he did, according to the constitution, if you dissolve the assembly, which is what he did, you must reorganize the election within 20 to 40 days. I mean, it's part of the rules. Now, you can say the rule is wrong, but it's not, I'm deciding to do an election and I'm rushing it. No, it's within the framework of the constitution. So.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense. You can't just go on without a parliament.
Yeah, because the parliament parliament is not extremely strong in France, but at least it's a regulatory body, so it doesn't create laws, but it's a yes or no. So you don't want to be without somebody to control whether you can pass laws for too long. So.
I gotcha. So what's going on in tech this week?
Apple is AI now.
Apple AI, yeah. I saw you both, Rob.
I'm sure everybody was sitting in their living room watching the Apple developer event.
I was waiting for the new AirPod Max headphones to come out. That was kind of my only, that was a big thing for me. I mean, it's like I have to wait till 2025 at this point.
Oh, what a tragedy. I know.
They couldn't deliver a normal over-the-ear headset quickly?
With USB-C, I guess not,
I know. I did see some other people saying they were hoping for an update to the AirPods, even Pro, Buds Pro, and everything like that.
I think that to the Apple thing, I mean, I think it's yet another data point about how important it's going to be to do a lot of AI processing on device.
Yeah.
And this idea of privacy and data privacy, which when we started was kind of an afterthought, is now front and center. And even Apple sort of showed Microsoft how to roll out, on-device AI features and emphasize privacy, as opposed to when Microsoft rolled out Recall, there was nothing around that. And now they're backpedaling severely to fix it. But I think this idea of like running AI on device is a value prop in and of itself. I think that's cemented in the consumer.
Yeah, and I think it goes beyond. I mean, Apple, for right or wrong, has actually this strong focus on privacy, but also the concept of a private cloud compute, as well as the concept of auditability of the code that run on this is, I think, a very interesting direction, which to me should be actually constitutional right. I mean, that you should be in our digital world. You should have
constitutional right. Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I told you that on this call. I think one of my I did my presentation about danger of AI or Gen AI and AI in general to democracies in Finland this year, and I do believe that our constitution was not created in the digital age, so we have very basic low level human rights kind of elements. But we still live in the digital world that is so transformational that we need to have things deep in our constitution. Laws are not enough because it's a battle of lawyers and people go around. It has to be a fundamental right, I think.
Very European of you. I love it whenever I hear someone say fundamental right.
Yeah. Well, this country
high-speed internet is a fundamental human right. I always hear that coming out of Europe.
The US was built to
everyone must have 100 megabit up and down symmetrical at a minimum. The poorest people must have that. It's a fundamental human right.
Yeah, but that's not a fundamental right. That's
but I hear it, especially from the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah. No,
it's a lot easier from Scandinavia because there's less open space and less people.
That's true.
Yeah, well, I was telling you that as well. I think in Paris right now, you get 8 gigabit per second symmetrical for $25 per month.
What a deal.
But it's within Paris, so it's much easier. And there was some fiber optic that was brought into the ground using the metro system in the 80s. In the 80s, I mean, no, more than actually, no, in the 2000s, sorry, not the 80s. When I moved, I told you, when I moved to the US, I had 100 megabit per second symmetrical in Paris.
Yeah.
And I landed in Pleasanton with Comcast, so I can let you imagine what it was. I think it was.
Sorry about that, Comcast and Pleasanton, but yeah, you fell off the cliff. Yeah.
But at least now you can do iMessage to satellite.
True.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing. So
I think that Apple's going to, set a new baseline on if they do it right, which it sounds like they probably will, around this data privacy and transparency around AI. I think that's, and I think that, this legislation in the US will take like 100 years, but I think in lieu of that, whoever is the making, success from a capitalist perspective on a certain value prop, everyone else will snap into line. So soon you'll see, Meta, Google, Microsoft, everyone else talking about how transparent their AI is and how private it is and all this other stuff. So I think that's a positive thing out of the.
I hope, but the thing we should not forget is that only Apple can do that because fundamentally the business model doesn't rely on exploiting data, which is the absolute opposite for all the others you mentioned. So it's always going to be a bare minimum that the Google and the Facebook do because they exploit your data and make money out of your data. So,
no, it'll be interesting to see how Apple pushes that. And you're right; they're in a fairly unique position for that value prop. They have a lot of product truth behind the claim.
Because people call it the Apple tax when you buy Apple hardware because it's more expensive. I call it the freedom tax or the privacy tax. It's a price. If you think about it, it's a privacy.
It's more of a luxury tax than anything else.
Yeah,
that's exactly what Apple wants. Is they want people like you doing the marketing for them, saying, "I'm paying the freedom tax."
Freedom tax.
Yes.
But you're right. It used to be kind of a luxury task. But I think the angle of privacy is actually an interesting one because it's
true. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's a high margin brand with a lot of brand margin, brand value equals margin, and Apple's, kind of showing folks how that's done, and so does Ferrari, and so does Gucci, and so does everyone else, right? And Louis Vuitton.
And this is where
freedom tax with a Louis Vuitton luggage, as far as I know.
This is also where, as a Frenchman, I'm so frustrated because we use and we still are one of the biggest leaders in luxury branding with LVMH and all those companies. Totally messed up the digital transformation. We should be Apple. France should be Apple.
France could be Apple.
Should have been, but
should have.
LVMH could.
Wow.
I've always, by the way, if you guys have an idea, I've always been trying to find a concept of luxury software. I would love to, but I don't know what it is. So it's a concept.
There was the $10,000 app on.
Yeah, but that was bullshit marketing.
I remember that.
Hey,
remember the Virtu phones? Phone.
I was about to say that. Oh my gosh. Yes. The Virtu phone.
Yeah, those
Nokia phone, Nokia candy bar with kind of a snakeskin, CMF going on with sapphire crystal in the middle button.
Exactly. Don't lose that phone. Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting. WWDC, is a developer conference, and I've watched it transform over the years from being an actual developer conference to a launch event and something that looks very similar to their September event that they always have when they launch the iPhone.
Yeah.
If you didn't know any better and you're a developer tuning in, like me, if you pay your $100 a year to be an Apple developer to build stuff for their platforms, WWDC is actually a multi-day thing, and most of it is developer sessions and stuff like that. But that first, and this one was extra long. What was this, like hour and 45 minutes or whatever? And you'd never know it was a developer conference.
Yeah. Well, they have these windows where they need to get stuff out there, and so you might as well take advantage of it. But
yeah,
but again, all they introduced was software, right? Where the September one, it's really focused on the hardware
devices. Right? Yeah, that's where we'll get the new headphones in September.
Yeah. You'll get the headphones, and you'll get the headphones.
So over the year.
Yeah. The other news is that apparently Elon Musk companies are going to be the first companies that run totally on Linux. Because apparently
Elon Musk's company.
Yeah, because he said that if you have OS if you have AI in the OS, which both Microsoft and Apple has, you can't be using that in his companies. So,
which is a great talking point for today, because I've heard Pete start off like, this is the new bar for privacy and it's awesome, and then you have Elon saying, oh my God, sound the alarm. There's no privacy. They're going to suck your data. What is this Apple private cloud they're talking about?
Well, somebody was actually sending a correction back to him on X.
Okay.
The Apple intelligence is running on the device.
Yeah.
Whereas the ChatGPT is something that a user can opt into and are being informed that their information is going to be shared.
So it's more of a transparency play than anything else.
What?
More of a transparency thing than anything else.
So when I watched that time, obviously they had a lot of discussions around AI, obviously the whole thing, but that one part where it's like, yeah, most of the time it's going to run right on device, but then sometimes, we're going to need to reach out to this private cloud thing that we have, our servers.
Yeah.
And they showed a picture around the guy, we're not going to give it the data. We'll just send your data and momentarily touch these things to get the answer to your question, because it needs more CPU or whatever, GPU, than you can get on your phone. And I was in my mind, I was like, is this like reverse RAG? I don't know. It's just dynamic stuff. I don't know.
I think, first they call it private compute. So I think it's just extra computing power that you might need to access. You send the data, it computes, and then it deletes the data. At least that's what I understood from what they said. Details. But again, I think what is to me really important is the fact that they mentioned that the code is going to be vetted by third party and open to third party. I think that's the
Yeah, I think that I would say the data provenance thing is fascinating. Like, I would love to see, and I don't know, how many people would take advantage of this, but, if I could understand where my data has been or where it's going or who's been looking at it, like if I could audit that, if I had a tool, that said, here's my data, it's how much of it's been on device this time, it went here to this physical location for this amount of time, had this exposure. It's almost like a data provenance tool where I can actually analyze where my data has been. I think that might be really interesting. I don't know how often people would use it, but just the idea that you could have that transparency is pretty impressive.
They're going to launch Apple AirTags for data. And you can watch your data go.
Virtual AirTags.
AirTags.
They're only $29 each.
No, but seriously, this
the battery only lasts a year.
This is actually good. It's actually a great idea, because again, the thing is, I think it's a good direction, because we try to solve the problem by sending it back to the users who's creating this concept of consent. which is a total nightmare because how are you going to track what you consent with? It's impossible to do. So we need to have those kinds of tools where you can visually see, hey, oh, I said yes, and that went there.
That's where my data went. Yeah. It's like, oh, now it's in Kuala Lumpur and it's been there for like, 6 days. Why is my data in Kuala Lumpur?
As opposed to having to buy an app that, go scan your bank account and check if you're not twice for Netflix because you don't remember you did it twice. So how are you going to remember what's in your consent?
Yeah. No, it'd be interesting if someone, I mean, I don't know where, that would require a lot of API access and a lot of, but that could be a differentiator for sure for somebody.
Did we just invent something new right now?
I like
private cloud.
But being able to track your data the way your lost luggage is being tracked with your AirTags, or the latest one I saw yesterday, the guy put it in his recycling and AirTag in the recycling bin of his trash, and then watch the recycled trash go to the landfill. And
yeah, I guess the joke's on him though. He lost his AirTag.
Yeah, he lost his AirTag, but
I think he knew the result ahead of time too, right?
So now we
had a big suspicion.
Now we're gonna get the trash company asking for more funding to put Faraday cages around their trucks. So,
what if someone passes a law? This would be a great one for the EU to say every time your data moves from one server to the next, there got to be like a new GPS coordinate stamp in addition to a timestamp every hop it has, so you know where it is, where it's moving.
But the problem is, like I always said, I hate the analogy data is the new oil, because the problem with data is that it can be copied. So only tracking it is not enough. You also need to know whether the data was
replicated.
Yeah, because that's the thing people don't understand. So this is why I do not understand this idea that, the data has to be stored in the country. I say, do you understand what an API is? And do you understand that you can access it?
Sovereign cloud.
Wherever you are. So what is this? Yeah. This is, I know there's probably some legal stupid reason for that. Legal.
I remember a lawsuit about that with email.
Yeah.
With Microsoft.
So it's,
where's the email stored? Oh, it's in Ireland. In a Azure data center in Ireland. Well, I don't know. We should be able to come after that. I don't know. That whole data sovereignty country thing, it's kind of a thing still, I guess,
But I can imagine some private company doing this as a feature and if they got a lot of traction, then I can't imagine it being done legislatively, because the cost to implement it would be so high that every big tech company with their lawyers would crush it. So, but I think if someone, I look at all these secondary clouds out there, the Vultures, the Core Weaves, whatever. If someone said, hey, we have a new feature, it's called Privacy Tracker or whatever, you'll know exactly where your data is and when it's been copied and whatever. And it costs an extra, whatever per month. And then if someone validated that as a real value prop, then maybe people would catch on. So.
They might. They're going to pay their freedom tax for that.
Freedom tax. That's what they call it. It's called freedom tax.
While you're eating your freedom fries.
That's right. Registered trade.
I think there's another model that you can probably do, which is actually in sync in kind of what we discuss here with more power on the edge. Because at the end of the day, if you have enough power on the edge, then you say, well, you know what, the data never leaves the edge. And if you want to do something with my data, you send me the compute. I run the compute on my edge. I figure out if the outcome makes sense for me to share it with you, and I might not. And then I send it back. So it's because the only way to solve that problem is to not let the data move. As soon as you let the data move and you put an API, it's gone. It's just, and you lose control of it. So,
hey, Leonard.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Your analyst call was quick, man.
I already knew most of this stuff. So, and what's the use of hanging on when you were kind of giving the company ideas and they're just regurgitating it back to you? So
you're not used to drinking.
Wonderful.
You're not used to drinking Kool-Aid.
Too much Kool-Aid too early in the morning.
I'm still trying to recover from jet lag.
Oh yeah, you're
It's pretty brutal.
It is brutal.
My wife, she's like out of it. So our whole home life at the moment is just twisted. But
It's really tough coming that direction, I think, going east.
Yeah.
That's harder for me. When I go to Asia and stuff, it's like I land in the evening, I'm dead tired, I sleep, and I wake up at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning. It's easy.
Yeah.
Other directions.
The problem is you get so, I mean, especially with 2 weeks. I was there for 2 weeks.
You're totally locked in.
You're locked in.
And then when you come back, it's just like, no.
That's brutal.
Yeah. But
No bueno.
What are you guys talking about? It's like friggin'.
We're talking about Apple. We're talking about Apple and
privacy,
AI and privacy.
data transparency.
What are you thinking about all that, Leonard, after the WWDC event?
Oh man, I think they did a couple of things, man. I think number one, they proved how easy it is to play this AI game. It's chatbot, right? So when you look at what all these guys have been doing so far, whether it's Google or Microsoft, they're just rehashing a lot of chatbot-ish stuff and then just creating plugins across their portfolio of stuff. And Apple can do it. And the advantage they have is they can proliferate these quote unquote AI capabilities across all the consumer devices that we use, right?
Yeah.
And
they can do the cross-device agent kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I think the other thing they're proving is ultimately, at the end of the day, there's not going to be a lot of money in this stuff. Think about it like this. Apple Intelligence, that thing is going to be on device, and maybe a portion of it will be on server. They're incented to push everything on the device. They probably don't want to run anything on the server because it's just going to cost money for them.
Right, it costs money. Yeah. Plus, it doesn't drive new upgrades. It doesn't drive hardware upgrades, right?
Their whole strategy is on device first, and it's fundamentally driven by financials. These guys did their homework, right? Everyone else is coming from a cloud first to edge approach. And the problem is that if you can put some robust, high value stuff on device, on your own, running on your own silicon, running on your own AI frameworks, and you're not paying a single penny to anyone else for tokens or GPUs. And, here's a big misconception. Everyone thinks somehow because Apple came out with this announcement that NVIDIA is going to sell a ton of GPUs. It's like, wrong. And it's incredible how many articles have come out that are stating that, and how many analysts, financial analysts, are coming out making that statement. And think about it. If you apply the 80-20 rule, and the assumption was this generative AI stuff is going to have this massive TAM, and somehow all these GPUs are going to be used to drive cloud-based Gen AI services, and Apple has just made 80% of all the stuff that you're going to do done on device on Apple Intelligence, and this would be for Apple folks that are in the Apple ecosystem, obviously. What did you just do to the TAM?
Right.
So don't you think that the free chat GPT that they're going to be driving as well is going to drive some business in that direction?
Free, but it's not primary. I mean, think about how many times you're going to go. The number. Here's the thing I always notice: most of the generative AI stuff and application, where it is valuable, is very niche, right? The other thing is that the other high value stuff is highly iterative, more localized, and you don't want to do that on the cloud, because as you're iterating, let's say through a generative creative process, you don't want to generate all those tokens and get billed for it, right? You want to do it on device, and because it's going to be more narrow, you can probably do it on device.
Yeah. Well, think about the ISVs, right? If I'm an ISV and I'm selling you a application or a service for creating content, like I want you to do all that stuff on device, because otherwise I'm paying my bill. You're only paying me $5 a month. You're now like spending $8 a month on tokens. and I'm underwater. So if I'm an ISV, I want to put it on the Apple platform and push it to the device.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Whenever
it does change the SaaS a little bit. Before, when you had applications, as a vendor in the back end, you always had to kind of figure out, okay, how much is that going to cost me running on Azure or Amazon or whatever. Now that cost is exponentially higher.
Yeah. And then here's the other problem. Enterprise Gen AI is a different game, and it's really, really tough. Adoption is crap, right? After all, more than a year now, more than 2 years, actually. I don't know. I think Apple, if they execute well on the security and privacy end of this stuff, they just disrupted.
So this sounds like a big discussion about AI infrastructure, because a lot of folks are thinking we're about to go into a new wave, or we're already in a new wave of massive AI infrastructure being built by corporations and by vendors and stuff like that. And so a lot of people assume so far, because the story they've heard up till this last week was it's all about Big Iron and Blackwell and NVIDIA building this mega AI infrastructure. And then also private AI.
Yeah.
So companies are going to be building this whole on-prem, private cloud, hybrid cloud, whatever, because they're worried about their private data. And so it's like there's a feeling, and I see it among the analyst communities, that we're about to go into this mega wave of AI infrastructure.
Gigawave. That was gigawave.
Gigawave. Yeah, it's a gigawave. You're right. And 1.21 gigawatts. And then there's the whole deal. And then the AI PC idea is something by marketing to spur a new PC cycle to get new stuff, because you need that, which actually I think is really funny. I don't know. This was lost in the news. The whole AI PC with the, 40 or 45 tops for the NPU and how that's going to be dramatic. Jensen made some comments about how crappy that is, and that's like the most minimal, lame, basic AI tasks can be accomplished by that compared to just a GPU.
He's got 300 TOPS RTX chips that are already in laptops, right?
So my desktop PC that I have that I'm using right now for this, my RTX has 1,300 TOPS on it. Now, with that being said, it's desktop and it's using more energy than a laptop one, no doubt about it. But it's like just not even close,
Yeah.
But it's also think about what is the application for an AI PC, right? It's probably more closer to what Apple's doing in reality.
Yeah.
It's just
being able to do that locally.
That is understanding what you do in your behaviors and kind of work on it. And you don't need that much for that, obviously, because you can see it on the Apple side as well.
So who benefits?
I think it would be interesting to see some real research, and what's the difference between what is the impact on the training versus running the inferences versus customizing, and because it seems to me that we're going to go back. I mean, it's the old cycle. We're going to go back to client server. Okay, you need a server to train the model, and then you deploy on a client to execute and customize. So that's why. But you have to understand this kind of level of details to figure out, where this is going to grow and what's not going to grow. And I think you have a great point, Leonard, about that. I never thought about it this way, but yes, the Apple ecosystem has a strong distributed computing power by essence of the quality of their device. So they can actually do that.
Yeah. And then, the other thing I was thinking is, people are wondering, well, how do you monetize this stuff? Actually, Apple does, if they can get that hybrid AI architecture, right, end to end from their servers to all the different varieties of devices that they have, right, from smartwatches all the way to friggin' the Mac Pro. If people with older generation devices that don't have sufficient NPU compute, maybe Apple charges them $20, $30 a month if they want that, because they have this.
You're right. You can have some elasticity. You can have some elasticity between the cloud and the hardware. And also, you can also distribute the cost. I mean, you can increase the cost of iCloud subscription by $5 and increase the cost of your MacBook Pro by 3%. So you can balance it as opposed to, everything on the cloud, you have to pay this subscription.
Which makes the model different, because what Microsoft is looking at doing is trying to charge everybody for something that Apple is going to give away for free for the latest, if it qualifies as a, AI PC or whatever, a 40 tops, whatever, right? Yeah. Apple, on the other hand, they have the opportunity to provide AI services to older generation, devices and monetize, and that's an interesting possibility that no one has been talking about. I haven't seen any.
And I actually believe you're really right, because even the name they chose, they're not talking about an AI Apple PC. They're talking about Apple Intelligence.
Intelligence, right.
And it's the ecosystem that deliver the intelligence. Yeah. And they have the whole flexibility to distribute it, cloud, PC. So it's probably much smaller than what most people have been commenting.
Right. And then they could probably balance out the financial, because, providing these services in the back end is going to be a bitch. It's going to cost a lot of money, even though I think the way Apple's doing it is probably a lot more streamlined. They're probably tackling the 80% of, let's say, lower cost, requests that they would take, versus doing these large context window stuff that, we see Microsoft and, OpenAI and all these guys, and Google in particular, with the friggin' 1 million, 2 million token context windows. They say, okay, let these guys do that stuff, because this is going to cost a lot of money. It's not going to be as high margin. We'll just do the easy stuff and then, provide the value to our customers, but then also, not go bankrupt, providing a generative AI services. In other words, crap Gen AI business offload to OpenAI and these other guys, and they just keep the good stuff, the 80%. That most of us are going to do, but it's going to, this is even the case for Microsoft with Copilot. It will suck the oxygen out of the room. In other words, the revenue opportunities for all these guys that are buying GPUs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing I wanted to just, when you said before on the enterprise generative AI, I wouldn't disregard that. I think I mentioned in our company, couple months ago, we got access to Microsoft's Azure AI, I think they call it, which there's a lot of people in our company that start playing with it and doing some stuff with it. But we just had, last month, we had a really great, analytics summit, where all our analytics people get together. And there's a lot of other areas where we're using it, but it's not really completely visible to everybody. So on top of our data centers, et cetera, on top of our big internal systems, ERP. There are tools right now, because they're just coming with the tools that we already have. Now they have a little Gen AI kind of capability. So, for example, automatic language translation. We have systems sitting on top of our data, so that you, as a user, can find data, because it's now organizing it. So if you ask for something, you can, in natural language, can get back what it is. It can give you the SQL statement you were supposed to use to get to that data automatically. So some of these things, they are happening, right? Sure, but it's not necessarily like this big OpenAI kind of push. It's more like, there'll be some Einstein in Salesforce, there'll be some stuff in Oracle, there'll be some stuff in other places that on the enterprise side you start using, right?
But what we're seeing is that those services are generic across enterprises and businesses, so they're not necessarily specialized. Now, I do believe that you will specialize some AI services for enterprises, because enterprises have their own data. But the fact that you can customize Gen AI for enterprises is much more highly questionable. Because
so you're thinking let's say you want to sit on top of our service data and specifically generate some feedback results out of that that's specific to a specific area in the business.
Yeah. So, and I think because the thing is, Gen AI fundamentally, we call it Gen AI, but I think it's really language, is the language interactions. So, and this is why it's actually dangerous, or tricky, because the level of engagement we have is going beyond visual and sensorial. It's becoming with the language, which is kind of a very strong engine of human interactions. So, but it's an interaction mechanism, and it's probably kind of it's a buffer between the enterprise and the individual, if you want. So I don't know. The question I'm asking, and I don't know, I haven't looked into details, but is there a really customized model where you need to retrain deeply the Gen AI model for an enterprise? I don't think so.
No.
We put more context. For example, we put all the laws and all the lawsuit we had in the past, so we can probably eliminate 95% of the lawyers, which would be great. But that, you're not training a model for laws. You're just training a model and adding a lot of laws data.
Yeah, some of the training is more automated, right? Like if you look at our business data, there's some stuff that tells us, what's the revenue this year versus last year on these particular products. There's some of that that's starting to get some Gen AI that's constantly kind of trained on that data, I guess, but it's not a focused kind of training effort. It just happens because you're using.
I'm not even sure it's Gen AI. It's more, it might be patterns and inferences, but it's not. Again, that depends on what you call Gen AI. I think Gen AI in the context of what we see today is mostly through language.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're not going to be. It's too cost prohibitive to create a constantly up to date general AI for your business. And that's why, I call RAG the poor man's fine tuning. That it's actually true. That's what everyone's doing right now. So like even with Apple, if you look at what they're doing with they call it the semantic index. It's a friggin' either a graph or a vector database, right? I mean, it's not like they just went off and hey, we have a semantic index, right? It's a friggin' RAG. Marketing. But you know what? That's the cool thing is there's a simplicity in all of this, and a practicality in the implementation, and it has implication, but it has broader implications. Meaning, most companies, man, they're not going to spend a ton of money on an implementation of generative AI that is not valuable, right? They're going to try to do it as cheap as possible. And so if you look at what a lot of hyperscalers are doing, actually, when you look at the pricing model, there's a thin fee that they pay for, that they charge for the actual Gen AI part. The rest of it is all the RAG stuff that is almost entirely, has nothing to do with a large language model. That's how they're looking at making money. Right, requests, the retrievers, and it has, and so this is, I think, something that the general public hasn't tuned into. A lot of people in the industry still don't have visibility into, but it's coming. Trust me.
I feel you, man.
I've seen it.
I feel you, but I think I have to disagree. At least in the near term, I think we're in a hype mania mode right now, and I think. Let's just say the Fortune 500 companies are all big enough and wealthy enough that they will invest in this infrastructure because they're all like, oh, this is incredible. And I think a lot of them are going to try. And I think a lot of them are going to spend a lot because they're the biggest companies and so they could afford it, right?
But they've been doing that for a whole year, 2 years actually.
Yeah.
Well, how many of these things have actually gone out into the wild and at scale and delivering
they're gonna they're on the Blackwell waiting list, because
there's not enough GPUs. That's why.
Oh my God.
More GPUs.
Yeah, and so for their own data centers, their own stuff, and then they're gonna probably grab open source models. So they'll probably hook up with our buddies in France at Mistral AI and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously Meta's got open source models, there's all kinds of stuff like that. I think there's also some level of it, and this is more, this is like the industry 4.0 world, the notion of training models and doing inferencing is not new. That's what we do with something we call machine learning, and we've been doing it for a long time. And we do it, but we do it narrowly. I'm training a model on this machine in my factory to see how it's behaving all the time. And I know how it's behaving when it's good, and I know how it's behaving when it's down. And I've trained those models, and I do inferencing on my IoT telemetry, because that's really important to my business. That, the biggest value prop of industrial IoT and all this Industry 4.0 stuff is high available machines, no downtime, all that kind of good stuff. And so a lot of people are already doing that. Some maybe do the training in the cloud. Some can do it on-prem.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on the sophistication. You also know this notion of in big companies, they have a big IT department, and you always have this star chamber of architects that wear robes and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, and they are like the gatekeepers for new technologies coming into the big company. And so I know some of them were probably seeing Elon Musk's comments about Apple, and there's like, get it out of here. There's no way we're going to allow any Apple products at any of my companies, and there'll be some of these people who are like, huh? Is Microsoft with recall, and then the Apple stuff I gotta believe there are going to be companies with policies that are having red flags right now going, I don't know, this sounds like it's borderline violating a lot of our privacy and security policies that we have at our company right now.
Or
they're telling us a good story, but we don't know if we believe it or not.
So I know what's going to happen. It's going to happen the same thing with the mobile devices, where you have your personal phone and you have your work phone. So you're going to have a personal PC and a work PC. So it's the regression, rather than trying to make those two coexist on the right place. Because I was at the heart of that with good technology. We had the technology where you could actually have your work apps isolated from the others on a single device. Nowadays, this is gone. I need to have two devices now, because I'm not letting a mobile device management profile from a company on my personal device. So we get the same kind of thing there.
But that's the interesting twist. For a lot of companies, these functions are going to be cool. Like, I think it was like last episode, I mentioned that some enterprises might find this very useful, because they want to be able to track what their employees are doing on a company issued laptop or device.
Oh yeah. Totally.
But I agree with you that maybe there are going to be concerns of people doing BYOD, right? All of a sudden now the company wants to basically be able to tap into the proxy that is on, your digital proxy or digital twin that's on your personal device. And then that just becomes creepy for the employee.
Yeah.
So, but I can totally see how some companies, especially ones that are like for instance, if you're working for Skunkworks, they want to track everything because they want to make sure that you're not some spy sending off, secrets to an enemy.
I bet you that the nightmare scenario is that in 10 years you go for a job interview, just log in into your PC.
Yeah, but Elon's premise is so funny, man. It was just so reactionary. It was just reactionary because it's like, look,
it was very reactionary.
It's just a friggin' plug-in. It's too funny. Yeah.
Elon's also the best troll on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the things that somebody noticed or mentioned was that they didn't even bother bringing Sam Altman up on stage,
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting too. Yeah.
You're not that important. In other words, you're not that. This is about Apple intelligence. And by the way, in the 2% of the times that you guys actually need to tap into these world models, we have a little plugin, and guess what? They're not the only ones. Anybody else, we're going to charge a fee for anyone to, get their little, name on the option, the drop down list,
Yeah.
and maybe, and who knows, OpenAI is probably paying Apple, not the other way around.
Is there a moment?
I saw that as a question too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this a moment possibly for a Linux desktop player with some marketing budget to seize this moment and say Windows and the Mac and are all bad? They're all going to be sucking the life out of your data. Come to us. We're going to be, none of this is going to be allowed. Here's the lockdown, secure PC, secure laptops. Have you seen Elon posting? He's like, would you buy a Tesla phone or whatever he's calling it? Where
I think I hear Tiffany OS. Ooh. That's what I think I really hear.
I love that.
I kind of like the sound of that too.
the hilarious part about Elon Musk is when you see the amount of data that is collected by Tesla.
And all the AI he's trying to push on everyone for free.
I understand what he's saying, and I kind of agree to some extent, but stop being bullshitting people. Okay, at least be honest. Say, oh yeah, it's cool. Shut. We've been doing that on our cars, and now they're doing it on their PC. Boo.
Yeah.
I mean, right. For money because you were the first one. I would go that, but
my sister was telling me that in Denmark they just caught a murderer on the street based on Tesla video.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
So they went back to which cars had been in that street for that period of time, and then they went to Tesla to see if they could provide the video, and they did.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's more than a Ring doorbell. Wow.
You should
crazy.
You should tweet this article if you have it.
That sounds very interesting. Because you're right. Tesla's got all these cameras all over the car. They're trying to train those cars for all the weird edge cases.
By the way, can that this be kind of a challenge legally? Because how come those people can record things all around in the public space without? I mean, it's why do they have the right to do that?
No.
Then I'm gonna put a camera in the mall and record everything myself. Why not?
Well, people have dash cams sometimes on their cars. That's where all the cool crash videos come from.
I think if you're in a public space today, your rights are not that you can't be videotaped. You will be, and
that's true.
Oh yeah.
You can be photographed if you're in a public deal. It's like the news media. If you're out in a public thing, they can do whatever they want.
So
wah wah. There you go.
Actually,
anyway, so
not in France. There are laws against that.
Yeah.
So you cannot take pictures of people without and use them without their consent. Now
you can't use them publicly. I think if you take a video of somebody, you can't put it on the news or something without.
You can't use them publicly. You have to have consent. Because I think
the police can use it however they want.
Yeah, but again, I'm not questioning kind of assuming we have authorities. I'm saying the random companies or for-profit companies starting to do that because Tesla could monetize all these images from the cars. Mm-hmm. They could say to the police, "Hey, do you want help with solving crime? You pay us $1,000 every time we give it to you."
Yeah. And I think all those TikTok, Instagram videos of people that are filming other people. I mean, they don't have to give any consent to be on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. They just post them.
Yeah.
So.
All right, it's time for funny videos. Since we're talking about authorities chasing people, here's your funny video of the day, and it includes a submarine.
Oh.
Oh, geez. That's pretty cool. Is that a torpedo?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Is that the SGV, the submarine à grande vitesse?
Yeah. See, this is what gives all Gen AI creators hope.
Funny videos.
Yeah.
Notice how they have the game controller as a reference to the submarine that went to look at the Titanic that died.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Seriously, no, never underestimate the appetite for Jerry Springer.
There you go. There's your funny video of the day, folks.
Well, we are on an even more slippery slope. I used to complain all the time about science fiction movie because there's no sound in space. And there's only one movie that I know of that respect this physical thing, which is
2001. Yeah.
All the others, we've been raising generation of kids. When you talk about, elevate our kids with all those Hollywood movies where there is sound in space.
Yeah. Right.
How much does that say about teaching them about physics? I'm sorry about that, but
remember the tagline for the original Alien movie was "In space, no one can hear you scream."
That's correct. So two.
Oh, there's also no speed of sound in most movies. You see an explosion.
Oh yeah.
Way you hear it immediately. So
yeah.
Yeah, there is no physics. And see, imagine that you have all these generative, like vision AI models being trained on that stuff. And then you have Jensen getting up on stage talking about how they're going to make these physics-based models, or whatever the term that he has.
Yeah, that was a big thing at GE, actually, going back to our core IoT subject. We're trying to merge physics in machine learning, and that's a good point. For reality, it should be probably very, very interesting thing to do.
But if you're training your model off of Hollywood movies and action,
for sure,
you're in big trouble.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, garbage in, garbage out. So is the point. That's why people, when people have hallucination of weird things about the Gen AI, I say, "What do you expect? It was trained."
What do you expect? It's trained on stupidity.
All right. Well, that brings up the point. As we move forward, we've talked about how in the future, more and more models might be trained on synthetic data. That's not real world data; it's synthetic data. What do you think about that?
Hallucination squared.
Yeah, well, it's a vicious circle, I think we call it. Unless the synthetic data is actually generated by physics or by all different things, but if we generate that, based on what we already have bad.
Yeah. And we know how the digital twin has gone for so far, right? So
yeah, I tried to tune in this morning on my phone to the IoT Slam event going on right now.
Yeah, I was not able to. How was it?
I don't know. I just saw briefly a woman I think she's a doctor, and she was talking about using digital twins in healthcare with patients and stuff like that, which is cool. It was
cool concept. Yeah, but
but the thing is, this is a subject close to my heart, and how much people completely misunderstand and have absolutely no freaking clue what a digital twin is. It's just a digital representation of a physical thing. And your medical record is a digital twin. It's a rough one. It's inaccurate. It's probably not up to date, but it is that. So having at scale this concept of having a digital companion that represents all you digitize has obviously an enormous value when it comes to healthcare.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it. We're just not doing it in a cloud or on an edge.
If only someone would write if only somebody would write a manifesto or something about what a digital twin really, really is.
We talked about that, Rob. We never did it. We
got to do that.
Manifesto. There you go.
Exactly. It'll be just like Asimov with iRobot.
You know what we should do? What we should do is we should do the same thing that the manifesto for the Agile guys did.
The Agile manifesto. Yeah.
Let's book a hotel in the low season in a cheap city, with a little suite. Take 4 or 5 people and crack it. Maybe that's a fun. Yeah. Think about it.
Yes, or maybe we should fly to Hawaii next week and do it there.
You guys have bigger expense accounts than I, but.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, but you're right. People are fast and loose with what a digital twin is. I see people say all kinds of things, and that's how every technology is in the early days, even though it doesn't feel that early for some of us. It's the Wild West, and they just make stuff up. And this is, it's all these artifacts that I have and all these pieces of paper and everything. That's the digital twin.
Well, people are still talking about digital transformation like it's something new. So, and then repeating stuff from 20 years ago, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Look at bank.
I guess that's good business, regurgitating other people's thought leadership.
How you make money.
That's how you make money. Regurgitate old thought leadership with new thought leadership, because there's new people every day on YouTube watching your videos.
Yeah.
This is digital transformation. We're going to Industry 5.0, and you have to have this and this and this technology. Oh, that I invented, by the way, and you have to have it, or you can't
Rob
transform
invented everything. So
if you don't have it.
Yeah.
You know, like a whole lot of people are believing that this unified namespace is somehow a critical element in Industry 4.0 digital transformation. Is it? I don't know.
Yen?
There's a portion to it, but the focus is definitely not that. I mean, we're talking about manufacturing automation, whereas digital transformation in a company is a lot broader around integrating back-end systems and providing digital experiences to both internal and external users. But I think the Industry 4.0 is really, data. How do I get value out of my data better than I'm doing in the old days where I'm looking at a screen? I want to automate that. I want to make sure that the system can tell me what I need to do. I want to get real decisions that I don't have to have a person that is looking at a HMI screen and a trend and then say, oh, I got to do something.
Data.
But
there's the data.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Big pipe. But you know very well, Jan, that the if you look at when the European created the what's called asset management shell or whatever it's renamed,
Yes.
exactly what it is.
Right.
The sole purpose was just to make sure that everything related to a specific asset was in a digital form. Because we're still not there. There's still some paper and some books and some stuff. And you cannot say, okay, that thing, I have everything from inception, idea, down to decommission on a digital form. We're not even there yet. So, and that's not a digital transformation. That's just so it's again a lot of very hype. But I agree with you. And this is why actually you can, I believe, see the best example in industries which are reasonably new, or industries where you have a lot of optimization possible. So oil and gas, very established, but you can still extremely important. You can optimize. And then, new electric cars start from scratch. Then it's fully digital.
Yep, exactly.
In the middle, it's kind of digital transformation. It's like digital transformation is in banks, okay? It's putting a React website in front of a mainframe. I don't call that a digital transformation. And so I call that, digital user experience. Yes, but there's no transformation. It's still run on COBOL on the mainframe.
You're so evil. You just won't let these people have that moment of, we did it. We did it.
You're a soul crusher.
You're a soul crusher, Dimitri. You suck the life out of those people.
Yeah. Oh, one real quick thing about the WWDC crap. I thought Apple did a really weak job of talking about reliable AI. And so it's going to be a big question mark. I mean, you can't give Apple a pass. I mean, this generative AI stuff has problems, and you always have to provide tools and stuff like that, or at least help developers understand how to manage the risk. And, I think Microsoft and Google actually talked about it, whereas Apple didn't. So, anyways, just want to put that out there.
It's all privacy. Yeah.
It was all privacy, but there's more to this than privacy. It also has to be reliable.
One of the things Apple did that you didn't see Microsoft do, for instance, is how Apple showed that AI was embedded in every last thing they make. Even their Office products that 5 people use, they had it, whatever they call their docs, Write, Keynote,
Pages?
whatever. It was in their email client. I mean, it was embedded in every product they make, actually.
Well,
How we often talk about how we've already offloaded half of our brains onto our smartphones. With this new Apple technology, the other half will be offloaded as well. And you can be a dumb caveman. I mean, they were sitting there doing the demos of doing an email, and they're like, oh, let's rewrite that. Oh, that sounds a lot better. And then like the pop-up deal is like, I want this to sound professional or concerned or playful or whatever. And it's like, I'm dumb caveman with shit.
But I have an iPhone.
And so but pretty soon you won't have to have any brain cells at all. And you won't, because we've already seen what's happening to idiocracy.
The matrix is coming. The machine's going to revolt. You're going to try to log in the morning on your IPC. It's going to say, you're too dumb. Go away.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're very right. You know, I mean, it's a real thing. You know, I've said it before. My memory sucks. I don't have memorized no one's
phone numbers,
phone number except for mine. You know, and I forget names.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. It's because my brain has become lazy.
You offloaded your brain to your phone.
Yeah. Then you get dumber.
You really need that direct connection, right? So that even though you offload it, it's still connected to you. You need the
Neuralink.
Yeah, Neuralink. There you go.
There we go. With no AI.
So is this like the new system of control? Is this how we're going to subjugate the population? Is with everything, you'll be totally offloaded and you'll just be
pretty much.
Remote link. You saw the Apple's remote link, so we don't even need to be connected to it. It's just
there you go.
Yeah.
And they even mentioned some kind of magic wand or something, a wand during the deal. And I was like, they brought Harry Potter into this too. So I'm like, okay.
Harry Potter.
Whatever.
Oh my God. That is too hilarious.
All right. It looks like we are now at 1 minute, almost 2 minutes after an hour.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, the first few minutes was just a bunch of junk. You know, I don't even know what we were talking about. So,
really?
You know, yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah. We're like looking at each other like, I don't know what we're doing here. And so, but luckily our editor and producer will edit out a lot of that stuff like he always does, you know.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, if you know anything about Coffee Talk, everything's getting fixed in post. Yeah. So big time. Yeah.
Especially the sarcasm.
Yeah. We have no shortage.
So who's going to take us out?
I think Dimitri is going to take us out.
Yeah.
I think it's his turn. It's time for Dimitri to take us out. Alien Crossing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, I think this was probably the AI episode in the light of the WWDC announcement. So again, I think we forgot the disclaimer. So please do not make any decision whatsoever on what you heard this morning. We're just having a lot of fun here.
We're offloading the risk.
Offloading the risk, totally, exactly to you. We're not doing anything like that. Now, remember, we do that for the purpose of stimulating your mind, and we hope education. And remember, education is extremely important and need to start when we are young. This is why we are supporting Elevate Our Kids. So go to elevateourkids.org so you can contribute to this great charity, and we'll give computing power to the one that need it, so don't have it, because it is a digital space, it is a digital world. However, we said bad things about digital, which I'm the first one to say, it is important to support our kids. So it's been a great episode, and guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Adios, everybody.
Yeah, see you guys.